For the past 11 months, a red tide has been raging along the southwestern shores of Florida. A red tide is a particular kind of algal bloom that's composed of a saltwater phytoplankton species that produces toxins, and when it blooms, so when it starts to really explosively grow, it creates this reddish tone in the water, like what you see here. And so this is actually a totally natural event to have a red tide occur. They occur annually as part of the natural ecology of the system, but they typically only persist for about 3 months or so. So this year it was quite unusual to have this red tide event that lasted for 11 months and was also very intense. And because of the toxins associated with this type of event, we've also seen hundreds of tons of dead life washing on shore because they were exposed to these toxins. So it's fair to ask what was different this year that led to this type of severe, intense event where we see all of this mortality. And the reality is that we don't actually know, but we have some ideas. So in particular, we think it might be related to the fact that this part of the state, the southwestern shores of the state, are connected to a large eutrophic lake in the center of the state. So a bit of history. In the past, water would rain down on central Florida, flow down and collect in Lake Okeechobee, which is this large lake at south central Florida. It's 730 square miles, and it would fill with water throughout the summer, and then in late summer, it would spill over its southern edge and flow across the southern part of the state. This happened annually. Well, that's great if you're into wetlands. It's terrible if you want to live and farm there. So as a result, a drainage network was constructed to get water off of the land, out of Lake Okeechobee, and quickly out to the coast before it could flood the southern part of the state. But now what we're seeing is that we have this connection now between Lake Okeechobee and through a canal. It's connected directly to the southwestern part of the state where we see this red tide event that continues to rage on. And so what we hypothesize is happening is that nutrients that have started to accumulate in the lake because it's draining an ag and urban intensive area, those nutrients are now being shunted to the western part of the state, and they're fueling this red tide event. But we need data to be able to answer this question. So currently, this past week, my ecologist collaborators have gone out and collected water quality samples from Lake Okeechobee to the coast, and we'll be going during different discharge events. But once we have that data, we need to use analytics and integrated modeling types of tools to really start to make sense of these data. So we'll also be diving into historical archives to see what types of observations we collected in the past might be able to inform some of the relationships we're observing in the present. And hopefully we can inform operational improvement.